Good day everyone and welcome to Exile News, the weekly show that brings you all the important news and information on Path of Exile. Starting the week with the live stream Twitch drops. So basically, if you're gonna watch the live stream on the 14th for the full reveal for the next expansion, Scourge, you will be able to get these wings here, the Dragonfly wings, which actually are pretty nice. I mean, it's a free MTX, so why not? All you have to do is watch for 45 minutes of accumulated time, so it doesn't matter if you do 5 minutes here and there or just 45 minutes straight. And well, the time frame is from noon PDT until 6 PM PDT, so basically convert this time to your time zone and see when you have to watch. It's definitely gonna be something interesting or crazy or whatever, but I mean, it's definitely gonna be something. Anyway, we got this week 3 basically manifestos, I guess, which are about balance, and this is part 1 on flasks and ailment mitigation. So all these posts have been posed in a problem and solution way, and then there are specifics which you can show. And the thing is, for ailment mitigation, the problem was that there is not enough ailment mitigation. And some changes that they're doing, a huge one, for example, is the purity of elements change. This is an aura that hasn't been used for like 8 years at the best, unless you were an aura bot. And now it also grants immunity to all elemental ailments, and this is absolutely huge. The reservation, in fact, has gone up to 50%. And well, that is just one of the changes. Another one, for example, is Steel Skin granting immunity to bleeding, Tempest Shield granting immunity to shock, becoming also a reservation effect, so kind of becoming the lightning version of Arctic Armor now. And as far as Flask go, not gonna go into details too far, but basically GGG is improving mods that provide a proactive playstyle on utility flasks, while improving mods that provide a reactive playstyle on life and mana flasks, which is definitely really good. Also, enkindling orbs are going to be improved as well. Belts as well will have slightly better mods to improve your flasks, and the life recovery time on flasks is being halved for all life flasks, so hopefully instant recovery life flasks will not be the only reliable tool for survivability. And GGG is also thinking of providing players for different charging methods for your flasks, which is not just on kill. Hopefully they'll find something interesting in there as well. And the second balance post has been on core character defenses and recovery. This is another problem that has been brought up since pretty much forever, where basically basic defenses are kinda shit unless you go block or dodge. And speaking of dodge, GGG basically fully removed the mechanic, except spell dodge, which is available only on the acrobatic keystone that has been completely reworked. So what's going on? Basically, starting from armor, the armor, you basically will need like half the armor that you needed before to reduce the same amount of damage. And I guess that's just a flat-out buff to armor, now needing half the armor investment that you needed before. Also, they buffed evasion, as well, evasion didn't look strong enough. So after removing dodge, they really buffed evasion, even there, like needing half the evasion as it was needed before. Or rather, half the investment on the evasion as it was needed before to reach the same amount of evasion. The problem, as I see it, is that evasion is just too weak because it is entropic, and it means that you will absolutely get hit once in a while. And that once in a while on a squishy character, as usually evasion characters are, will just kill you. So I don't know if evasion has been actually buffed or just destroyed due to the removal of dodge. That will remain to be seen in the future. And a new interesting mechanic that has been introduced is spell suppression, and this is basically focused on the dexterity section of the passive skill tree, giving a chance to halve spell damage taken. This chance can actually be stacked up to 100%, so investing in this is absolutely worth it, because taking half spell damage is definitely really strong. Also, sources of dodge and spell dodge have been converted to suppression, and in some cases just changed to something else. And you can see here all the things that have been added. Base acrobatics no longer exists. Yeah, that is definitely really interesting. That is a huge change, and we'll have to see if armor characters can actually abuse these even though they are not going dexterity. We'll see if they manage to make Raider and Gladiator even stronger, or it's actually well balanced. Also, apparently, since characters who rely solely on armor are not protected enough against elemental damage, they are going to add more maximum elemental damage resistances to area on the passive tree that have armor in them, which means the bottom left part of the tree, making that part of the tree, I feel like, much stronger than the other parts, as that is where most of the life wheels already are. So giving more maximum elemental damage, I mean, I'm happy about that, but I don't know how balanced that is. Still, it's definitely a solution to some problems. So yeah, we'll take that, we'll take anything that improves defenses, armor, evasion and energy shield on basically any source have been increased, especially on armor pieces. Some sources like the energy from a notable cluster jewel has been nerfed a little bit because it was way too easy to maximize the energy shield from there. There's also going to be some more synergy between armor and energy shield, evasion and energy shield, you know, these things that just kind of happened to overlap, but there wasn't really any real synergy between them except stacking both, because that was good in itself. And another big change is going to happen on block, and block is basically way too reliable. It's available on shields, but the Gladiator is way too strong with that, with the versatile combatant granting spell block as much as attack block. So the solution right now is to give everyone access to a weaker form of versatile combat as a passive keystone, which sure gives you spell block, but it reduces your maximum attack block and spell block, which makes it really a weaker version than what Gladiator had. What Gladiator is going to have is still unknown. We're working it. Hopefully it's not going to be losing its identity as the main blocking class, but we'll see how that goes. Block might be dead, might actually be still really good. This is definitely on the verge on the chew, so we'll have to see. That's definitely an interesting and a very big change as well, seeing how block has been good, especially in the previous league where Spectral Shield Throw and Shield Crush has been dominating pretty much the league as a build in any type of form of whatever. Also, Blind is being nerfed a lot because it was way too strong with minimal investment. People went Trapper and just took the Blind Keystone and were like way too defensive with just that. So what's gonna happen is Blind is going to be very good with evasion. If you have evasion, you're gonna be good with Blind. If you don't have evasion, Blind is going to provide a minimum, very minimum benefit. So that's going to be a bit more balanced, hopefully. And Flesh and Stone also might be changed a little bit. For now, it's going to have its cost reduced because the blinded part, which was incredibly popular, is basically nerfed quite a lot. Fortify is being worked on a bit, and apparently for now they're thinking of basing it on your melee damage. So basically, if you do actual damage with your melee weapon, you get a good Fortify. If you do shit damage with your wand, you're not gonna get a huge Fortify, and that makes sense. Still has to see how that works with skills like Cyclone, which do small hits and constant hits. But I guess Cyclone is already pretty strong in and of itself, just because it's a moving skill. But we'll have to see how that goes. Fortify changes are still in the works, and these posts are still in the works. There's still 1 week to go, so we'll see if that changes in the meantime. And the third part is going to be auras, curses, and elemental damage over time. As far as auras goes, they really destroyed aura bots. I mean, they are changing the reservation reduction with reservation efficiency. I spare you the details, you can go in and read them, but basically it should mean that you're not allowed infinite auras, and reducing the cost of mana reservation is not the same as reducing the cost of life reservation. So the same investment on an aura bot will definitely reduce its power by a lot, but also this should be helpful with a minimum investment for basically everyone. So hopefully this is going to be for the most part of the population a good buff, and might reduce the power of party play, which, well, the problem with party play honestly is just the fact that there is an economy in this game, because party play decides the prices of a lot of items and availability as well. So that is why aura bots and party play has been a problem for a couple leagues, or rather forever, I guess. But anyway, curses are also being reduced, and it's worth noting that both curses and auras are basically being hit for the most part in cluster jewels, because that's where the highest investment goes if you want to really focus and specialize on those things. If you don't specialize on those and just do a decent amount of specialization, you should be fine as you were before. And last is elemental damage, which has been way too dependent on elemental overload and elemental equilibrium. So the first one is being changed in a way that you need to crit with the same skill that you actually want the damage on. So that is gonna be a rip for most builds. And elemental equilibrium is going to add exposure instead of reducing resistances. So if you already had another means of exposure, it's going to be less effective. And well, to balance these, they are going to basically increase the damage of every of the skills that provide the damage over time. Especially for as far as Ignite build go, they removed pretty much the damage over time, the Ignite multiplier, which was the main thing that you needed to scale, and if a gem didn't have that, the gem was useless. So now all the gems deal less damage, but the Ignite is stronger without the damage multiplier, which is actually a buff, and well, for most builds definitely is. For some builds just a little bit less, but I mean some of those builds still are good on elemental overload and elemental equilibrium. Definitely check it out if something here has been part of what you want to play, because I mean there's a lot in here and this video is definitely not long enough to cover all of it. Also, GG is thinking on something to provide Ignite builds with a way to focus damage on bosses, because right now they don't, except maybe Flame Surge, which is also going to be reworked with the same intent. So we'll have to see. That is definitely going to be pretty interesting as well. Lastly, a couple of the things that, or hints and sneak peeks that we've been getting for the new leagues. We can see some divination cards like this one that gives synthesis item, and a unique one as well, definitely one of the rings, and this is seen also in the description. There's going to be the ender of the end games, like unrelenting timeless Val emblems, like just Legion but the next step forward, or also Blight Ravaged Blight maps, I guess, so even the next step of the Blight leagues. I mean, they are kinda nice. They are just going to add that next extra step for those who can actually afford it. If you can't afford it and you casually drop one, you're gonna sell it because there's going to be no worth for you running it. New divination card, another end league that is going to be improved, like Chayula's Flawless Breachstone, another type of Breachstone for even more endgame in there, and a new type of divination card, pretty crazy one actually. A magic item which is actually elevated and influenced at the same time is going to be crazy, but I mean it's gonna be rare as fuck anyway. And I guess that was all for this week. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like and a comment down below. Also, if you want to remain updated every week, be sure to subscribe to my channel. That was all. I've been your host Giorgio, and I'll see you guys the next time.